Amy Bernstein, the daughter of the late conductor and composer Leonard Bernstein. It's going to be an amazing evening as she shares stories about her father. Our community arts program folks are going to play some of Bernstein's music. There will be a wine and cheese reception where you can meet Jamie beforehand. This would make a great Christmas present. So buy 1 or 2 or 3 tickets, stick them in a stocking of a loved one or a friend, and they will be so grateful, and so will we, because all proceeds will go toward our microphone system. And as you can tell, we need that, so please think about that. Also, while you're at that table, get your Festival of the Flea spot. You give us $25, and we will give it to Feeding South Florida, and you get a table on our Hunger Vigil weekend over on the green space, and you get to sell all of your treasures. Well, you maybe don't think they're treasures, but someone will. So this is a great way to start your New Year's resolution of simplifying your life and maybe cleaning out some things by purchasing a table. Come and sell those things, and in the process, help the hungry of South Florida. Also, to share a brief announcement about a new therapeutic group that is being formed are our friends from the University of Florida. Yes, come on up. So we have Olivia, right? No, you're Miranda. Miranda, why don't you just go right up there and share with us? Thank you, Miranda.
Excellent. So we are from the University of Miami. We've had the pleasure of offering a 15-week group therapy, and it's been such a joy to pair with Reverend Lori and the UCC. As of now, the group we are offering is for anyone and everyone. So anyone who might be experiencing distress, maybe there's a new life event that you're dealing with, depression, anxiety, and we're also very excited in the new year to be offering a separate group for people who are experiencing severe mental illness like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. So we're really excited to be having this opportunity with Reverend Lori. And also being able, as part of this group therapy, to be doing research as well to determine how spirituality can be involved in the therapeutic process to be more effective. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Miranda. And please be sure to visit with her at the Wise Table, also in our fellowship hall. Friends, we are truly in the midst of this lovely, sacred, beautiful Advent Christmas season, and there are so many opportunities to worship, to celebrate, to share. So just a reminder, this Wednesday evening is our last Advent Vespers in this space at 6:30 p.m., and then on Friday evening is our longest night service, formerly known as the Blue Christmas. We are gathering on winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year, which is so appropriate when our hearts are hurting, but we know then that the next day there will be a little more light, and the next day a little more light after that, and so it is with hope. So we hope that if any of you are grieving or just feeling less joyful this year, please come and join us. And then, of course, Christmas Eve, information about that is in your bulletin. Be sure to share that with your family and friends. So, for 95 years, people have gathered in this space to worship and to sing, to pray, to hear a good word, to find comfort, and to care for one another. And so we continue that tradition today as we now gather for a time of worship.
We are waiting for We light the third candle of Advent. We kindle it with joy. We seek your presence in our lives and in our world. Prepare our hearts to be transformed by you. O God of joy, guide our path through gloom of night. Bear within us wisdom's glory. Come to us, O Christ the light. This Advent, visit us with your joy.
On the past 95 years, we remember times of joy and despair. With joy, this church gathered together to share with and support one another as people invested in their lives and relationships and found satisfaction in basic necessities fulfilled.
In despair, the church has lived through countless wars, natural disasters, destruction of lives and of countries.
With joy, we have advocated and worked for peace, sought justice, assisted those in need, and helped others find new life arising from the midst of pain and rubble.
In despair, we live with racism, sexism, homophobia, separatism, and all the other isms that demean, hurt, and separate us from one another.
With joy, we have followed the call of the gospel to seek liberation for all, bringing new visions and dreams for a world of opportunity and freedom for all people.
In despair, we have seen and experienced people suffer for want of food and clothing, for our home in which to be safe
With joy, we have sought to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, build homes for those without, to release the captives, and set souls free to be who they were created to be. With joy, we have worked together to protect our children and teach values of kindness and mercy, to create a world where such violence need never rule our lives. In joy and despair, we look to the future, dreaming of contentment fulfilled and pain overcome. May God walk into the future with us, turning our tears of despair into laughter and satisfaction of joy.
Let us greet one another like we greet this new morning of joy. Extend the love of God to your neighbor, saying, "The peace of Christ be with you."
And also with you.
A song of joy. Sing aloud, O daughter Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. God has turned away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall fear disaster no more. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, do not fear, O Zion. Do not let your hands grow weak. The Lord, your God, is in your midst, a warrior who gives victory. God will rejoice over you with gladness and will renew you in love and will exult over you with loud singing.
For decades now, there have been reports of the church having a grave illness. Sociologists and psychologists, scientists and journalists have gathered around the bedside of the church. They have monitored the church's vital signs and checked its pulse. They have pronounced that the church is old, out of step, outmoded, an outdated antiquity that has outlived its usefulness. The church, they say, is dead. And yet, here in this place, this old Protestant descendants of the Puritans church, this church of George Merrick, with its old historic building, is alive, animated, teeming, agitating, worshiping, learning, far, far from dying. But why and how? Is it the gorgeous and talented congregation? Well, that has something to do with it. It is, to quote Garrison Kaler, because our children are above average. Perhaps that as well. But we suggest it is because we continue to embrace all the gift of the first church born on Pentecost Day, and we continue to make room for the Spirit's wind. Like that early church, we have a vision. We are inclusive. We reach out beyond ourselves. We're joyful, and most of all, we're Spirit-filled. What the predictors of the church demise got wrong, what the sociologists and psychologists, scientists and journalists got wrong when they say the church is dying, what they missed is the power of a loving community of justice and faith like ours, drawn together over these past 95 years to be a church alive.
Thousands of years ago, the saying was written, "Without a vision, people perish." This very church was built on a vision of George Merrick to create a community and a church that would be welcoming, beautiful, worldly, and significant. He also built this church as a meeting house for the community, making it the first public building in all of Coral Gables. Over the years, members and pastors of this church have continued to seek a vision of what could and should be rather than what is. This church is also known as the Yes Church in town, a church that opens its doors to many individuals and groups. We say yes to those in need, yes to those wanting to try new projects, and yes to those seeking a place of help and support. Further, we are a church that says yes to what honors God while saying no to that which excludes. We say yes to building up others rather than no to those in need or struggling or hurt. We say yes to the different, the longing, the seeking, and no to judging those who do not think as we do. Finally, we are a church who says yes to the gospel's good news, seeking to demonstrate God's words through our works. Our activities are plentiful. Bible study, mission projects, Sisters on Sojourn, Theologian in Residence, Church Night In, Prayer Shawl Ministry, Food for the Soul, Back on Track, Haiti Mission Possible, Sunday School Youth Programs, Call to Care, Casserole Ministries, choirs, advocacy work, GLBTQ gatherings, community arts program, Fair Trade Marketplace, Early Childhood Center, the Wise Ministry, and so much more, which makes of us a church alive.
We're pilgrims on the journey of
We seek to put our faith into action. We examine issues facing our world, debate them openly, and take them seriously. We are always ready to welcome and to listen to new voices in our midst as God calls us to a ministry of hospitality and love and service to others. It is our love for Christ, for each other, and for the world that calls us to be neighbor, both inside and outside the walls of the church. In fact, we have a history of mission, which includes many firsts in standing up for the rights of all people in Christ's name. Whether through spreading the gospel message, the prophetic witness against injustice, or the compassionate reaching out to a broken world, we are a church that cares. The members and friends of this church reach out beyond themselves through the sharing of time, talent, and treasure. And each Sunday morning, we invite you to share some of your hard-earned money with us so that we might share with others the good news of God's love and of this church's commitment to care for others. Today, we invite you to give a little extra as we celebrate this 95th anniversary of the church. We are asking that if you are able to give $95 in honor of those who came before us, and by their dreams, actions, and faithfulness, witness to the impossible, improbable, and impractical to create this place we call our spiritual home. You may place a check or cash in an envelope in the offering plate, or come to the church council table in the fellowship hall where we can take your credit card and celebrate with you this special 95th anniversary. Your tithes, pledges, morning offerings, and special gifts continue to help to heal and to draw the world closer to God's vision for all of us.
Good morning, my beautiful church family. My name is Gisela Vega, and I am currently the member at large for our church, and I'm happy to be able to share with you how grateful I am to this church and the profound impact it has had not only on my life, but in the life of our community. I first visited Coral Gables UCC in 2010. This was a difficult time for me. I was personally struggling over the loss of my mother, who I lost unexpectedly to an aggressive form of cancer. This left me in a state of shock, disbelief, and major depression. The church I had attended for 13 years had closed, and I was in much need of spiritual care, repair, and guidance. I came into this historic sanctuary, was awed by our beautiful music, and was amazed at how welcoming and friendly everyone was. My mother used to say there are no coincidences in life, and all things happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer of this. I remember hearing about a women's retreat that was taking place. I attended the retreat that was offered by Pastor Megan and several of the women in the church. During that retreat, I spent the time with like-minded women, found the support I needed to center myself, and created a unique way to remember my mother daily, which I use to today. With the thoughtful and intentional support of my new church familia, I was able to overcome one of the most difficult times in my life. This UCC offers support to our community in so many ways, whether it's through the WISE congregation initiatives, its empathy boot camp, the centering support group, Sisters of Sojourn, the countless meditations and self-care programs. There's definitely something for everyone who may be in need. Within this place, I found the love and support I needed, a caring spiritual staff, welcoming and warm members and friends, and meaningful and life-changing programs and ministries. I became a member in 2011 and quickly joined different ministries and was involved in different programs. Now, they say music is the universal language, and boy, that language is spoken here, right? Yes. I had the pleasure of singing with our choir for a while and met so many amazing people who share their gifts and bring unmeasurable joy and happiness to so many of us each and every week. Another life-changing event took place in April of 2012 when Pastor Guillermo at the time started a new ministry, the Community Justice Agents. Little did I know then that the 7-week training would change the course of my own professional life. The program goal was to take its participants, design, develop, and implement their own justice program. This training helped me affirm and pursue my calling, to reach out and help those who are marginalized due to their gender identity, expression, or sexual orientation. At the end of 2012, I left my then position in housing and residential life and applied and was hired for the first LGBT specialist at any South Florida university, responsible for creating an affirming, welcoming, and inclusive place for our LGBTQA community. I work with students who are oftentimes marginalized and rejected by their family due to who they choose to love or because of their gender identity or expression. Through the years, I've been able to help young LGBT people who've disconnected from their religion and spirituality to learn to reconnect. Through programs such as our OWL program, the Miami Beach Gay Pride, and many other wonderful programs, UCC offers, it's able to connect our LGBTQIA people in an affirming and accepting church. When it comes to social justice issues, we don't just talk about it, we walk the walk. With initiatives such as the Lotus House donations, Habitat for Humanity, PAC, the Fair Trade Shop, Angel Tree, immigration workshops. I sound like Deborah, I'm gonna stop. You get the point. The work done here goes beyond these walls. It goes into our communities, and it reaches individuals on a global scale. There is always something to do, a way to get involved and to make a difference. So today, my familia, we celebrate our 95th anniversary, our 95th birthday. I feel honored to have shared with you a little of my story and the impact that this place has had on me. What a special day indeed. I invite all of you to join me in contributing your $95 to our beloved Coral Gables UCC. I support this church with my time, my talent, and my treasure, with the hopes that I can give back to it as much as it has given me. Thank you.
I invite the ushers to come forward as we gather up our morning gifts.
As Jesus reached past prejudices and limitations to heal and welcome, so do we. In this community, we are young and old, partnered and single, gay and straight, skeptic and believer, people of every race and background coming together to help build a community where love can grow. We believe in truth, love, justice, and the inherent worth of every individual, and we invite all who share these values to join us.
We believe in being real. There are no perfect people here, and you will not find a perfect church. We have our faults, but we try our best. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. The good thing is, we won't expect you to be perfect either. When we are honest about our struggles and shortcomings, God will give us the strength to deal with them. And others are hopeful, knowing they are not alone in their imperfections.
We are also a church that loves to have fun together. From youth sleepovers and Three King parties, to potlucks and chili cook-offs, from our rock and roll Sundays to our yearly celebration of Mardi Gras, as a church, we know how to have a good time.
So whether happy or sad, confused or inspired, street smart or college educated, whether you can't pay your bills or have more than enough to share, you are invited to be a full part of this community of faith, which we lovingly call our spiritual home.
morning. We are the church that reflects the Spirit of God. When congregation and choir lift our voices in song, when the children lead us in worship, when we light candles and pray together, when we cook casseroles and serve them to neighbors, when we give rides to folks who can't make their own way to God's house, when we gather at the beach to clean away the trash, when we bless backpacks and special offerings, when we break bread and share it, when we write letters and notes of encouragement to each other, when we join forces with other communities of faith to make a difference in God's world, when we let our light so shine, we are a church of fire, a church that knows and reflects the life-renewing, positive power of God's Spirit. Over the next 5 years, as we prepare for the 100th anniversary of this church, we will take time to reflect, strategize, plan, and prepare for the next century of our witness within this community and the wider world. We are pleased that Diane Miller will be chairing our Vision 100 committee, a committee that will represent the diversity of this congregation, not only but what makes us individuals, but how we think about things. We look forward to discerning how we can be even more relevant, meaningful, and faithful to a new century of ministry as we continue to be a church alive.